I don't know what's going on up under the bottom of that motor. This is the bolt. It came out of the shaft. There's a shaft that goes all the way through this. There's supposed to be a nut on the other side. This is what was in there, which ain't right. And there's some bolts up under here that I have to take out to get the top off. I think what I'm gonna try to do is just see if I can flip this over. And maybe put this part down here up on this shelf over here. Maybe will allow me to kind of see up under there better than I'm doing right now. Oh, let's see. If I do something like this. Yes. Here. Yeah, it works. Stick that on there. And I can get down in these bolt holes here. I'll drop a little bit of oil down here from there. I think that one has a dirt dauber's nest in it. Maybe they all do. Or did. I don't know. Okay, so I don't think there's a screw in that one. If there is in this one. Might be one. Yep, nope. Yep, there's a screw there. There's one here. I don't think either one of these in the back, but that might have a screw. I don't know if I've got screws in these holes or if I just got rusted out. I mean, it might be a rusty screw down in there. It feels like it. I'll probably get a hold of it. Yeah, that side's kind of loose. Side here sort of is. Here, truck. Oh, I like that. So it's my understanding that this thing lifts out. When it does, all this comes out with it. And also, when I looked online, they made it look like and sound like that it was pretty easy to keep these wires straight. The way they're marked. So I may stop right here right now and go take a nap and then come back when I'm fresh, disconnect all those, and this is full of good old Georgia red mud here, which can't be good for it. These connections actually look pretty good. They're not corroded or anything, so I'll put a little oil on those when I take it apart. But what I'm gonna do is take this loose, clean this out, clean the top of this out. This is the top that came off of that. You can see this does have screws in here, but I'm guessing the heads must be just about rusted right off of them. So I'll probably pull those screws out and put something else in that. But then what's going to happen is you can either put something in here to block this and cut half of it and woggle around, work around the wires, or you can, somebody drill the hole and pull the wires out down below, and that's an option too. I'm not sure which way I'm going to go as far as cutting this without cutting those wires, but I'll figure that out later. I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to cut this off and go take a nap, come back when I'm fresh. I'll talk to y'all more then. Have a good day. Hope you're having a good day so far. If you're not, get over it. Bye. So I went down and borrowed this little cutter because I'm still working on my trolling motor. And what I have to do is cut this shaft. Now, I could cut this with a grinder, but I'd have to get these wires out first. Or, I saw a guy on YouTube that stuck a piece of steel bar down in here and cut one side and then cut the other side. But the best deal I saw where someone cut one of these with a pipe cutter like this. That way you can just pull this off once you unhook these wires, and you don't have to, you know, try to figure out how to cut it without hurting those wires. So that's what I'm going to do here as soon as I get this head off and get all these wires undone. So what I did was I took my cell phone. Isn't it amazing how you can lose something like a cell phone without walking away from the spot you were at? I took my cell phone and I took a picture of these wires. I think they are marked. In fact, I think somebody was talking about that on one of the YouTube videos about how well they're marked by color. Yeah, there's yellow and there's blue. Yeah. But, you know, me being me, I just want to make double sure. I pull these off, I can get them back on. I'm going to put a little drop of oil on each one of them before I pull them off. Just to, oh, I don't know, you know, oil is always good for things, and it's good to have a little bit of lubrication, even on electronic parts. This thing just pulled right off of that thing, which is fine because the shaft's got a groove in it, so you just go back on just like that. So we've got a red wire and a blue wire and a yellow wire on this. And then over here we got a red wire and two black wires, and one of these black wires has a kind of a raised ridge on it. Red wire goes on this side, black wire goes on this side. Other black wire goes in the middle. Now this is loose and the handle is loose. Wires are loose. I should be able to get them to go down through there, and that should allow me to be a screw, I think, in this thing to get this off. Nice to be able to lay this thing down. Yep. So, well, there's the screw hole. That's right, I took the screw out of this thing, so that will come off like this. Actually, I don't even have to take them out. If I just loosen this wire up a little bit, I can slip that off. Literally just like that. And then I can cut this with this cutter. I'm still gonna have to get that off, but let's get that wire out. So all that means is there's a little bitty twist tie that's holding this together right here, and I just have to cut that twist tie. Like this. I usually just pinch it with my Leatherman. Sometimes I have to turn it a turn or two to break it loose. After I pinch that off, this off of that, like this. And now I can cut that. And I think I'm going to cut off about 6 inches. Now that's just an arbitrary number. 6 inches will get us down to about right there. That's good. Good place. Good place as any. Now this is basically a copper pipe cutter. And the way you work this is you turn this and then you turn the cutter. And it rolls around in the same place, so that little wheel gradually cuts that pipe. Sometimes you get one of these that's warped and it'll walk downhill with you and it'll cut the screw thing, and that don't do you no good. So you kind of want to watch, make sure this is cut straight. I think this one is. What you do is every time you turn it, tighten it a hair, turn it again. It cuts a little bit at a time. This is not copper pipe, but I'm guessing it's some kind of aluminum because they have to use a metal that don't rust, and I don't think it's going to be a very hard metal like that. This is not a steel pipe either, so I think it's kind of a rubber coated piece of aluminum pipe. And it actually occurred to me that if I cut this too short, I could put this piece of pipe back in here if I ever need to. I think I'll ever need to. We'll see. And I can always cut it a little shorter also if need be. You know, it wouldn't hurt to put a drop wall on that. It's a harder cut than a piece of copper pipe, and a lot of it has to do with this rubber coating, which is kind of peeling off of here before it actually makes the cut. Yeah. That was actually probably a piece of graphite, which is kind of interesting, but it still cut it okay. Doing damage to the cutter, but you can see little graphite strings sticking out from that. Yeah. Same stuff they make the rod and reel out of. I'm sure they do that to make it lighter. So now all I need to do is to put the head back on here, put the wires back to the thing. I wanna wash this out. It's full of mud, so before I do that, I'm gonna take these screws out of it and clean them up. I'll probably use something like carburetor cleaner to squirt up in here and clean this out with. So I'm going to set this with this handle facing the opposite way of the motor, and the hole where the screw goes is here. There's supposed to be a hole all the way through that. I think what I'm going to do, of course you need to be able to loosen it and turn it and adjust it too, so the best thing to do would be to drill a hole through it. However, you do have to watch out for the wires. So what I might do is this. I can take this little drill bit here and I can scratch a scratch. I have a couple different ways I could do this. Now I could also put just a screw through here. As long as I screw it carefully enough so that I don't make a mess out of that passageway there. I might do that instead. Got some little short screws that would probably work pretty well for that. Okay, now this is next, and this is an interesting thing. I talked a while ago about taking the picture. Probably didn't need to because they were marked. Yeah, they're marked yellow, white, and red. Well, there's not a white wire. There's yellow, blue, and red. That's interesting. So somebody's changed that wire, or wire wrong in the factory. I don't know which. But because I took that picture, have it right here, and I can see that this works like this with this big corrugated whatever wire with the thing on it. And this red wire on that side and the black wire on this side, just like I've got it. And then the blue wire is here. Here. And the red wire was over here where I think it had marked white. It was there. In that corner. And the yellow wire goes over here. Now let's double check that. Yep, that's the way it looks now. Before I put the head back on, I'm going to test it by hooking a battery down there to the jumper cables and then working the switch up here by hand. So I'm going to put y'all, talking to y'all as though you were on the phone, you're over there. So I'm going to go get my battery, which is outside. Y'all go into pause mode for a minute while I run down and get the battery. I'll be right back. What I can also do is go ahead and stick this stick back on the end of this piece here, because it'll make it easier to turn this. And all you do is look at the side where it's flattened out. Put the flattened out and the flattened out sides together and they fit like this. Now, when I turn this, if you look right at the propeller, I think you can see right there. You see it turning one way and the other way, faster, slower, reverse, faster, and slower. So, everything's working. So now all I got to do is get this back down in there with all this wire tucked in out of the way. Now I could cut and re-splice those wires. I'd rather not. I would rather have them instead just fit back in there. So we will see what we have to do exactly to get that to happen. All right. I think that's good. So the boat is not in the water, it's still leaned up outside here. Those of y'all that was watching yesterday saw me pour about half a can of what do you call this stuff? Flex seal or whatever do you call that. So I think it's probably safe to say that's dry now. If I could transport that down to the lake, throw it in there and try that out. Let me go check in with Honey Baby, and Charlie's been out in the garage with me. He might be right ready to go inside, so I'll I'll turn the battery pack off, and then we'll see what we're doing and what I want to do next.